Bienvenue or welcome back to another segment of the 50-50 show. I'm your host, Omair. As always, this is my co-host, Omar. Next, we'll be talking about the San Antonio Spurs taking on the Indiana Pacers in the country of France, in the city of Paris, where Victor Wembanyama absolutely shows out in his hometown to destroy the Indiana Pacers in a 140-point blowout. Omar, what are your takeaways from the game? What do you think about the Spurs' playoff chances? What do you think about the Pacers and their maybe championship hopes they had at one point? What do you think?
Okay, well, let's start with Wemby. 30 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 blocks, I think. Just a great game. I knew he was going to show out in Paris. It's often those narratives that people talk about, they're overblown. They don't really matter much. But how many games is Wemby going to get to play in front of Paris? This being his first one as an NBA player. So it was just always going to be special, and he showed out. They have another game coming up also here. So
Not tomorrow, but the day after that.
Yeah, check that one out. But I think he wanted to show off, and he did. I mean, there was a crazy sequence where he gets, out of his 5 blocks, he gets 3 of them in a row. He blocks, runs it down, passes, teammate gets a bucket, blocks, runs it down, gives a pass, teammate gets a bucket, blocks again. The commentator can't even keep up with how, because it's transition offense, and he just keeps blocking it. And then he runs it down, he passes it, cuts to the basket, gets it back, gets it lobbed, dunks it. So that's 6 points of offense and 3 turnovers for the opposing team, entirely created by Wemby. I mean, that's special. You can't make that up. And
I told you, top 10. I was on that.
That's what you expect out of Wemby. Now, I just want to mention, you said that real quick. Wemby has been backsliding before this game. A big reason why the Spurs are now 12th seed, they're struggling to even be in the play-ins for the West, is that I find when Wemby has a mediocre game, because he doesn't really have bad games, he's just too physically gifted, right? But when he has these mediocre games and he's really not willing the Spurs to victory, no one calls him out on it. I'm cool with that. He's a young player. In general, I think we're pretty harsh on young players. But if you only watch the highlights, you might be like Omair and think Wemby's a top 10 player. No,
because in
this game, if he did this every game, yeah, I think he probably would be a top 10
player. If he did this
player.
every game, but I'll tell you what it would be. Top 5.
He's not.
Top 3.
Well, yeah, I agree. 30 points is crazy. But I mean, just he's not consistent yet, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. He's not consistent. And even in this game, he had 4 turnovers. He's very turnover prone. We've seen he struggles to dribble, even versus other centers. Like Jokic, we saw in that second matchup of the Denver game. I really think that dribbling attempt broke the game in the fourth quarter, because when CP3 is holding the ball, it's a completely different game. Only 1 turnover this game. Devin Vassell, 5 turnovers. Wemby, 4 turnovers. These 2 specific young guys are really turnover prone, and at least one of them needs to get it together, get better at that.
Well, I give a pass to Wemby because when you look at any 7-footer who dribbles the ball a lot like Wemby does, they're all turnover prone.
Even Jaren Jackson Jr., who's like 6'10",
yes.
Sure. But it's something he needs to improve on. And I agree, it's way more egregious that Devin Vassell does it because he's a guard. Like, come on. This is
what excuse does
exactly.
Yes.
So, but that's something to point out on why I don't have him as a top 10 player right now is I see sparks of amazingness from him, but he has mediocre games. He has the games where he has more turnovers than blocks. No, last night, amazing game. Much respect to him. And then I just want to talk about Halliburton real quick. I thought he had a good game, especially in the first half. He ended up 3 of 7 from 3, but he made 2 of those threes in the first half. And because the Spurs are just not good versus the 3-ball anyways, recently they've been allowing a lot of threes made and a lot of attempts. They're bottom 10 team at limiting 3-point attempts from point guards and pull-up 3-point attempts. So when you look at the Spurs defense, one of the main ways you attack them is the 3-ball. Tyrese Halliburton, Miles Turner, probably your 2 best bets of doing that. Tyrese Halliburton, he did his job. Miles Turner did not. 6 of 17 from the field. I don't remember a specific 3-point percentage, but I know it wasn't good. That's obviously in the 30-point blowout, you can never put the blame on only one player, but I really thought Miles Turner failed to show up offensively with the 3-point firepower that they needed. Even with Benedict Mathurin going 11 of 14, really good stuff. It's not enough when Pascal Siakam can't get you rebounds, who, I thought he underperformed. Miles Turner not performing on the offensive end. I actually thought Halliburton did fine. He's the player I would put some of the least blame to on the Indiana Pacers because he came out in the first half and attacked them exactly the way he was supposed to. But in the second half, his teammates did not step up and it just got blown out. And then I want to circle back to the Spurs real quick. Obviously, CP3, amazing game. I think 7 assists, 1 turnover. Come on, guys. No one. It's not sexy. Literally, he is. You look at him. It's not looking like prime CP3. Okay, I get it. Any guy with a 7-to-1 assist to turnover ratio, like that's amazing, guys. Giving up a turnover is so bad, and he just never does. And he's really keeping the team afloat. And he's one of the biggest reasons the Spurs have more wins right now than they did in the entirety of last year. It's really Wemby got better, obviously, but CP3 is a major, major deal. But shout out to Trey Jones. He's coming up. I told you, I think Trey Jones is a really good point guard. It's just that CP3 is even better.
He's poised to replace
Exactly.
CP3.
He's poised to replace him. And I loved how he did this game because he had, I think, 8 assists in 18 minutes, 11 points on 5 of 6 shooting. Just an amazing game from Trey Jones. I understand he came in off the bench. It's sort of, fluff minutes because you're already so ahead on the Pacers. But I just think it's important to shout out because I think he is very important to the future of this team. Devin Vassell gets more minutes, gets more shine right now because they just need a guy to shoot the ball because CP3 can't. But once and if CP3 leaves, Trey Jones is going to step up to be the point guard who's playing with Wemby and who has to unlock Wemby. Besides that, I think obviously Spurs just shot a little hot, right? Like Harrison Barnes, 9 of 10. I think Spurs overall were shooting like 55% from the field, 45% from 3, something crazy like that. So do I think they're 30 points better than the Pacers? No. I think the Spurs are still going to struggle in the West because Wemby's going to struggle to do this day in, day out. Devin Vassell is going to be inefficient. He was quite efficient today. He's normally not. He's still going to have this level of turnovers. And I think the Pacers, they probably struggled. Because remember, they didn't get the hometown buff of getting to go to Paris and seeing Wemby's hometown and just basically getting to be like stars.
The funny you mentioned that this actually counts as a home game for Indiana.
Yeah, that's crazy to me because I definitely think they were impacted. Like, I'm not one of those guys who's like, oh, it's a back-to-back, so you can't even play the game or anything like that.
Unless you're talking about the Celtics.
No. That is a brutal trip. That is a brutal trip. Okay. I'm talking about just a normal back-to-back.
So the Celtics schedule matters, but when it's the Pacers,
I'm saying the schedule. I'm saying the schedule did matter here. You're trying to make it sound like I'm saying traveling to Paris to play a game it's unique enough, it's strange enough that I could believe that players sort of struggled with that. Just like that Celtics schedule is brutal enough that I think it actually could affect you. I was saying I just don't care too much about like common back-to-backs. So yeah, I think the Pacers underperformed.
PG, you don't care about back-to-backs.
But I think Spurs overperformed. 140 points, not at all the norm for them. Wemby overperformed, Harrison Barnes overperformed, Devin Vassell overperformed, Trey Jones overperformed, and I love that for my team. I love that they're improving. I love that they're getting better, but I know a lot of guys, they'll watch this game or they'll watch the highlights of this game, and they won't understand why the Spurs are still 20-22 and not even in the play-ins right now. It's because we do not get this day in, day out from any of these players except CP3. CP3, you're going to get 7 to 9 assists every night. You're going to get
anywhere from 0 to 3 points, definitely.
Okay, if that's so true, then how about you go bet the under 9.5 and get your money stolen from you half the nights? Because he's not scoring a ton. I'm not going to lie about that. But it's still 10 points.
Single digits.
No, it's 10 points.
9.5 is single digits.
10 points on a highly efficient shooting, great assist to turnover ratio, great defense. It's just amazing. I just want to shout out CP3 because he's the guy keeping us here, even though I feel like he's not discussed nearly as much as Wemby or even some of the other younger talents like Devin Vassell. That's the main thing I want to say for the Spurs. Devin Vassell is the kind of guy that makes us not be in the play-ins. CP3 is the reason why we're not in the lottery. That's my final take on the Spurs.
All right, my turn?
Yeah, go for it. If you even have anything to add, useful. In your head, mentally. Warfare.
See, I was going to go easy on you, but now
let me see what you got. What you got, big
First
boy.
of all,
Pause.
on the Indiana Pacers, I categorically completely disagree on what cost them this game. First and foremost, it's just the rebounding. It's just pathetic. The Pacers, Spurs, I think almost had 70 rebounds. They completely destroyed the Pacers on the glass. The primary blame, of course, goes to Miles Turner with only 3 boards at a center. That is terrible. I know you brought up Miles Turner, but I don't think you completely emphasized how bad it was, the rebounding. But also as a team for the Pacers, mind you, because CP3, he got 8 rebounds. Who is boxing brother out? What? He is 6 foot. Him and I are the same height, okay?
I don't know about
I'll just slide that in there. Anyways, okay, so I absolutely put some of the responsibility, not just Miles Turner, because not just the center's job to get rebound. It's Halliburton. It's Siakam. Why can't Halliburton box out CP3? Okay, he's supposed to be such an athlete. He's so fast. He's so tall. You love Halliburton. He can't even box out 40-year-old CP3. He's more he's busy thinking about Kim Kardashian more than getting rebounds, but he still somehow beat Halliburton on the glass.
That's blasphemy, bro. That's
No,
blasphemy.
it's really not. Shout out Mathurin. Sorry, let me show. Yeah, Mathurin.
Benedict.
Yeah,
Benedict Mathurin.
Yeah, it's Benny. Shout out Benny. He an above average rebounder, just had a great game. Obviously not enough when you're superstar, or was really a star at this point. Tyrese Halliburton absolutely does not show up.
Yeah, there's no superstar on the Pacers. There's no superstar on the Pacers.
Was cool. 13 points. That's unacceptable. Terrible. But I absolutely put most of the blame on Halliburton. I don't care if he makes 2 threes at the beginning of the game, the end of the game. It doesn't matter. You know, as the greats say, it doesn't matter how you start, it's how you arrive. Okay, and Halliburton did not arrive. He flamed out somewhere in the middle, and there's a car crash that needs to be taken care of. Anyway, let's not get too...
Yeah, Miles Turner was the car crash. Tyrese Halliburton pulled over to watch it.
No, Halliburton is literally on the side of the road. His car is struggling based on the game last night. So he hit like 3 of 7. That's trash. You know, I don't care. Like I said, 2 in a row doesn't matter.
Trash at all.
3 of 7 is not good.
It was like 41%.
Okay, you're right. It's not trash, but it's not great. So I misspoke.
That's better than any. What do you mean?
There's nothing wrong
with
his
his threes.
Okay, but fine. Even if it's not 3, it's his inside game. He's lacking the inside game. You can't just...
It's difficult against Wemby to have an inside game.
Okay, still, Siakam, he was 70%. The main thing with Siakam, that's why I don't put the main blame on him. He was 70% from the field. I'm just confused.
He wasn't rebounding. Siakam wasn't rebounding.
I'm confused why he didn't shoot more. That's the only thing I have with Siakam. Halliburton, he did not get it done on offense. He's not rebounding either. So they both aren't rebounding, but at least Siakam got it done on offense. Halliburton, he shot a couple 3, which is cool, but inside game, there's nothing to speak of.
Well, because Siakam had Harrison Barnes on him, who's a good defender.
Oh, Harrison Barnes!
And then CP3 was on Tyrese Halliburton. Miles Turner got the great matchup on the Wemby because Wemby kept playing drop coverage on him to cover the paint, and then Miles Turner couldn't hit a 3. And Benedict Mathurin got the Devin Vassell matchup, a.k.a. the cone matchup. That's why he went 11 to 14.
You're trying to tell me CP3, 6 foot, old as heck, locked up Tyrese Halliburton. And
CP3 could lock up your favorite guard. Name a guard. Jamal Murray, locked up. Darren Fox, locked up.
Never.
Tyler Hero, locked up.
Next time
CP3 will lock all of them up.
Next time Spurs and Kings play, I'll keep track. I'll let you know.
Your guy went like 25% today versus Russell Westbrook and Jamal Murray.
He's struggling with injury. I don't want to hear it.
He's struggling with being a good basketball player. Why don't you say what it really is?
Well, I'm sure you dealt with a lot of glute soreness in your life. So I'm sure you understand how weird it can be to come back to being an athlete. So I think you can understand that.
I take it like a champ. I move on every day. Boom. Uno card, reverse. You weren't ready for that.
What you do on your personal time, I'm never going to judge you for it. But
then why'd you bring it up? Then why'd you bring it up?
Affect the show.
Then why'd you bring it up?
Let's stay on topic because you want to get
I'm better than Darren Fox at handling it.
You're one of those guys when you're losing debate, you have to go outside the sphere which you're talking about.
You're the one who took it to my glutes.
So now we'll get back on topic. I'm going to keep it there. So Pacers, obviously, we got to blame Halliburton. He's having a great game. 13 points is just bad.
That's just normal. Like 16s is normal.
In the modern NBA, if you can't average 20, you are not a star. Unless you are superb at defense.
Bro,
Halliburton's not there.
He averages 16 and 9.
Darius Garland averages 20, and homie sits out most end of game because his team keeps winning.
I mean, he's not a superstar. Tyrese Halliburton is not a superstar. I agree with you.
Okay.
He's on, like, what do you want? But you don't, like, what do you want me to put the blame on him for? It's his fault Miles Turner goes 6 of 17. Tyrese Halliburton would have had 12 assists if Miles Turner hit his threes. Then it'd be 13 and 12. That's a respectable stat line.
So moving on to the Spurs. First of all, I will give you some ground that Wemby, he can be a little spotty, but he really does perform for those big games.
He does.
You can't
always
underrate that. When there's a matchup worth watching, when there's a reason to have eyeballs on him, even though he's in San Antonio, he always performs.
I think he's going to elevate in the playoffs because
absolutely.
Of that.
That level of clutchness, I just love to see from a sophomore. You know, more clutch than guys like Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, I don't think he's a sophomore, but you know, these young guys, Wemby showed that killer instinct from a young age. It's just great to see. And then Wemby absolutely was taking advantage of the Pacers' weak interior defense.
Yes.
So that was because he was actually not shooting that well from 3.
Yeah, they're 4 of 11.
Exactly,
maybe?
but it didn't matter because he could get into the paint at will. Same thing goes for Harrison Barnes and Vassell, Devin Vassell. I mean, they both were taking advantage of the Pacers' weak interior defense. Which is all because
of Miles Turner.
And then Stephon Cass had a quiet night. Trey Jones, I'm loving the Trey Jones and Wemby connection. Yes. It has really improved this year. Last year was like whatever. Mm-hmm. This year it's much better.
And I credit CP3 for that, for teaching them and showing him.
I think you can give him that credit if you want. I'm not going to speak on that. It's too nebulous to tell. And then finally, Sochan. You didn't give any shine to Sochan, which I think
don't like him.
Despicable.
I don't like him.
Wow. Well, he comes back. He plays amazing perimeter defense, really lets Wemby take care of the inside. That allowed him to get his 5 blocks, and you don't like Sochan. I find that really strange because you say you like defensive players, two-way guys. Sochan's
not a two-way guy. He can't score. He has no offensive bag.
He didn't have much of a bag, but he's fantastic at defense. You can't underrate that. You can't underrate defense.
Do you remember Oscar Robertson on the Oklahoma City Thunder early 2010s?
Oscar Robertson?
Mm-hmm. Not Oscar Robinson. That's a 60s, OG. Oscar Robertson. Okay?
The same name.
Yeah.
I don't know. You got it.
Yeah. He played on the OKC Thunder in the early 2010s on the KD Russell Westbrook team and Serge Ibaka and them. And he shot like 20% from 3, but he was a really good wing defender.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
And he eventually had to leave the league because he's an offensive liability. All anyone does is like, hey, whoever's on him, just go double team the actual good offensive player.
But I will
Jeremy Sochan is on that level.
I will say that with Sochan, though, I think he would absolutely develop that offense because he's shown some sparks of playmaking. He's not a bad playmaker. And last season, because the Spurs, absolutely poverty roster, he was playing some point guard. And, it was hard to watch at times, especially with that one-handed free throw. But if you look at it, he was getting assists, and he was actually showing some potential there. So I don't think he should be a point guard, absolutely not. But as a power forward you can look to for playmaking opportunities, I can definitely see that. He will need to develop. He's not there yet. Yeah. But his defense is still there. And I think it's a fantastic combination with Wemby. I will give this to Gobert. I don't like him. I think he absolutely gets exploited in the pick and roll. One thing you have to admit is when you are a center, if your perimeter guys are getting blown by and destroyed, there's nothing you can do. You'll always look bad. So that's
what Gobert has to deal with day in, day out.
It's good that Wemby had. Let's not make a conversation about Gobert. We're talking about the French guy that everybody know. We're talking about the French guy that actually matters. I'm
talking about the better French player. Yep.
Excuse me?
Yep.
Let's unpack that. I think I just found my piece of resistance again. You think Rudy Gobert is better than Victor Wembanyama?
It's close, but right now,
it's close.
Yeah, right now, yeah.
You care to expand on that?
What's the seed for the Minnesota Timberwolves?
I have no clue.
I think they're like 4th. No, fourth is Denver, 5th is Lakers, so Minnesota's probably 6th.
Clippers are 6th. Minnesota's 7th, I believe.
Minnesota's 7th, and Spurs are 12th. Who's the best player on the Spurs?
Victor Wembanyama.
Who's the best player on Minnesota?
Anthony Edwards.
That's cap. It's Rudy Gobert. Best player on each of their teams, slightly higher seed. I think it's simple as that. If you wanted me to go more in depth, I think Wemby has more of an offensive bag, but he's so inefficient. I've talked about this before, like in the half court. He's really good in transition. But in the half court, Wemby is still so raw and so bad at offense. I'm not saying this as a hater, that I would rather have anyone else shoot but him.
You would rather have Rudy Gobert had the ball in his hands.
No. I'm talking about on his team. I'm talking on the Spurs team. I'm talking about the Spurs team. Everyone likes Wemby because he clearly has more of an offensive bag than people his size. But because he's still raw, it's not actually contributing to winning games. Like when he goes
winning more than they ever had. You said it yourself.
A big part of that CP3 and Wemby just getting better. Wemby was already shooting these threes last year, and he was shooting them out of games.
Look at CP3 last year on the Warriors. He did nothing for that team. He actually
the Warriors are so
dysfunctional.
Down. Are you not seeing Steve Kerr right now? He can't coach his way out of a paper bag. He can't even figure out a proper starting lineup. He's been carried by Draymond Green and Steph Curry, and before that, Michael Jordan, and he's getting exposed, okay? But anyways, back to my point. I think Wemby obviously will end up being better because he has a way higher potential.
I'm about right now. I don't want I want right now.
Right now, Wemby is bad on offense.
No.
If he's going 4 of 11 from 3.
30 piece is bad? No way.
Bro.
Gobert couldn't sniff a 30 piece.
First of all, he feasted on Indy. That's what I'm saying. Like guys like you only watch Wemby's highlights.
If Gobert
Wemby averages
Indiana,
like 22
he wouldn't
points.
score 30.
He
wouldn't sniff 30. Even against
Bro,
Indiana.
talking about sniffing so much. Gobert, watch the Minnesota 1-point win over the Warriors about a week and a half ago. This is the best example.
You keep bringing this up, bro.
But it happens every game, but I need something that's so obvious that you won't miss it. Watch the last 4 minutes. YouTube has it provided because it was such a close game. The Warriors cannot score a single bucket in the paint because of Rudy Gobert. It literally, you can see Steph Curry going in. He's like, okay, kick it out to Buddy Hield. Like,
Wemby had the same effect. We were literally seeing guys not want to smoke.
We literally saw John Morant go up on Wemby and slam it in his face. Like, that's what I'm saying.
Morant could do it to Gobert too.
Wemby is more dunkable on because he's weaker. In terms of the defensive aspect, he needs to get his muscle up. He needs to get a little stronger. I would say he's more limber than Gobert.
Yeah, and that absolutely makes a difference. Wemby is the DPOY. Gobert is not.
Gobert is still DPOY level.
No, Wemby is DPOY.
People don't want to give him DPOY level credit because he's won 3. So it's fatigue. They're like, bro, we've given you 3 DPOYs.
But if he was that good, he would just win it anyways.
No, that's not how that works. That's not how that works.
Yeah,
he's not
good enough.
because I'm saying he's not that much better than Wemby on defense. But the
so
main
Wemby
issue
smokes his packet offense. And
no,
the
he
defensive gap
doesn't.
is small.
That's what I'm saying. You guys think he does because he's obviously more talented. But if he's gonna shoot 33% from the three, I'd rather just not him not shoot threes. When we're talking about winning today, the reason everyone's fine with Wemby shooting all those threes, even though he's bad at them, is like, well, you need to develop. If you can get that three ball, you're gonna become amazing. You're gonna be the better Dirk
but
Nowitzki
even
or
right
whatever.
now,
That's
they're
cool.
winning games where they're shooting 33%.
They're not really winning games. They're the 12th seed.
If
They're the 12th
Gobert
seed.
shoots even more than 1 3 a game, the Timberwolves immediately start losing.
But that's not how basketball works. Like, Gobert knows his limitations. He goes 4 of 4 every game. Like, I agree. He doesn't have much of an offensive bag. Those 4 shots are putbacks and simple
So he's
layups.
not making an impact on the offensive
He
end.
is, because the 4 shots he takes are 100%
But
field goal
he's doing
percentage.
nothing different than any other 7-footer with 2 brain
That's
cells
cap.
could do.
DeAndre
on the NBA
Ayton
court.
has never in his life shot 4 of 4.
Okay, Ayton, he doing too much. I look at, for example, Daniel Gafford. He could easily give you 4 for 4.
Daniel Gafford is about similar offensive bag to Rudy Gobert, much worse on defense.
Yeah, he is worse on defense.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is Gobert's offense, there's nothing to speak of.
No,
Gafford could do it.
That's cool. That's cool.
Gafford
Is Gafford like a bad player?
No,
is he
he's
trash?
not bad, but his offensive game is literally just catch lobs and put the ball put back.
So you do that. You do everything you need to on offense.
Not everything you need to. You give the bare minimum that lets you get an NBA contract.
The bare minimum is DeAndre Ayton. The bare minimum is Precious Achua. The bare minimum is
you can't use DeAndre Ayton for comparison to anything. He is terrible.
Like, okay, what you're trying to say Rudy Gobert's offense is terrible. I'm listing guys who don't even play defense and have worse offense than Rudy Gobert.
Oh, but those guys will never win anything.
Like Rudy Gobert does everything you need him to. Like, you be talking about Ant. Like, if Rudy Gobert wanted more shots, Ant wouldn't get the shots he needs.
Yeah, and if Gobert
can't
wanted
go
more
7 of
shots,
20
they
from
would
3.
lose. That's what I'm trying to tell you. He takes more shots, they lose.
Listen. Rudy is capped here.
Yep.
Wemby is right here.
No,
In a year from now, Wemby will end up here
Wemby's right
because
there
he has
now.
more offensive. No, he's not there right now. If you legitimately believe this guy is top 10 player and his team is 12 seed, you're crazy.
No, he's
Go
top
back
10.
and look at LeBron's teams.
Okay.
Go back and look at the greats. They don't have that low of seeds. They contribute more to winning when they're really that good. Wemby
or is it because he's in the ultra competitive West and LeBron was in the East? You don't think that played a part?
So you think LeBron's first seed in the East with 4 Eastern European bums is less impressive than Wemby's 12th seed? Are you crazy?
No, LBJ did that 4th or 5th seed. He didn't do that sophomore year.
Okay, 4th or 5th seed is still impressive.
No, 4th or 5th season in the NBA.
No, check the first year he joined. They made the playoffs.
LeBron made it to the playoffs as a rookie? I don't think he did that.
I might be crazy on that one.
I'm
They
not
definitely
too
made
sure.
it second year.
I'm not-
I know Melo made it his
but
first
this is
year
the
with
beauty of it.
Denver.
This
With
is the-
Denver,
This
he
is the
added a
beauty
bunch.
of it. This is the beauty of it. You are already comparing Wemby to LeBron James. That instantly makes him better than Gobert.
No,
Easy.
he doesn't. Like, why do you guys do that?
You're literally using LeBron James as your point of reference. That tells me everything I need
That's
to know.
how much you're a hater of Rudy Gobert. Like, if you don't think Rudy Gobert, even if you think Ant is better because of the offensive usage, if you don't have Rudy Gobert as the second best player on the Minnesota Timberwolves,
I have second best. But
so he's the second best player on the 7th seed, and you have him getting smoked by the best player, arguably, on the 12th seed?
Arguably.
Yeah, CP3.
Undisputed.
No, it's not undisputed.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
I know that shows that, but Wemby's undisputed the first option of the Spurs.
Nah. Well, yeah, first option offensively. We're saying who's the best player.
And who's the first option defensively? Also Wemby. He's lead DPOY.
No, but CP3 is contributing everything, bro.
TBD contributes, but it doesn't make him better than Wemby.
Why doesn't it? Why? Like, you guys only watch the highlights or what?
That's like saying Derek White is better than De'Aaron Fox.
Here's how I put it.
You probably think Derek White is better than De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah, duh.
So that's the issue.
Here's how
they
they play completely different roles.
Complete different way of looking at the game.
Here's what I tell you. Let's say the Spurs are in a game versus any random team, and they're underdogs by like 7. Okay, so the Spurs are gonna lose this game by 7 according to Vegas. If you take Wemby out, like Wemby's ruled out, I think that line moves to 9.5. So now they're even more underdogs, right? 7 to 9.5. I think if you take CP3 out, but Wemby's in, it's also gonna go to 9.5 or even 10. That's what I mean. Like, when we're watching their talent and stuff, obviously Wemby's more talented. He's younger, all that.
He's just better.
But the impact on winning today, you are completely underrating CP3, because if you really do think CP3 is whatever, I understand why you think the way you do, because you must really think this man is Jesus himself, reincarnated, reviving the San Antonio Spurs and their churros and their big old women and bringing them back to the top. I don't view the team like that. I view CP3 as quite good. I view Harrison Barnes as a very respectable starter. So Wemby's good. He's really good, but I think you're overrating him, and then you sleep on Rudy Gobert because you're also way too high on Ant. Ant-Man is not as good as you think he is.
Ant-Man is exactly as good as he is. It's unfortunate when people started saying he was regressing. That's the exact time he chose to start regressing. Before that, he wasn't regressing jack. So, that is what it is. Unfortunate timing. For me, I respect CP3. I love his game. I loved watching him growing up. But ultimately, without Wemby, this team is nothing. If you take out Wemby and leave CP3 in, this team is cooked.
No. CP3 can make wine out of water.
Prime
CP3, water out of wine.
Prime CP3, absolutely. The current CP3,
Even
nah.
current CP3,
He's
even
heavily
current
playing
CP3.
off Wemby.
Dude, look at the Phoenix
Look
Suns.
at the game when you watch him play. He's on the perimeter, just always dishing the ball away because he has no threat himself.
And he sets his teammates up.
He's setting up Wemby. Okay, that gravity works. When you have CP3, what he does is totally acceptable when you have Wemby. But if he was actually playing with real bums and just no Wemby at all, it would be unacceptable because nothing will get done. Oh, hey, CP3, thanks for passing me the ball from the wing. Really, let me create, let me cook. And then
Nah.
For when you watch NBA, people always talk about how stars, they often will lose a series when the opposing defense makes the role players create. CP3, every game, he starts every possession like that. Hey, bro, you create. Good luck.
Nah, it's just a pass first point guard.
The old CP3, he could run the pick and roll. He's a threat for the layup, threat for the midi,
I
even
agree.
threat from the three.
Prime
that
CP3
created all his passing.
CP3 probably a top 5 point guard of all time.
I mean, I already thought that, but
so
but
I'm not going to disagree with that, but he's still great.
But that's the thing. I don't think he's that great because it's only working because he has
Hey,
Wemby.
who are you taking on your team right now, CP3 or Bradley Beal?
CP3, obviously.
Okay, thank you.
How did that make your point?
I'm just showing how dumb the Phoenix Suns were for what they did.
Oh yeah, because they did trade away CP3. I mean, I think they were looking for a scapegoat, to be honest.
Yeah, because them boys don't want to take that blame. D-Book soft. KD he looking soft. KD looking soft, by the way.
I mean, he keeps switching teams. I think
rumor is that KD doesn't like Nurkic.
I mean, he has
and
Twitter
he's the
burners.
reason Nurkic got benched. And if you get Nurkic benched, like, you're not trying to win. KD's done, bro. You stay doing those air shots in the club because you ain't finna be winning a chip anytime soon. So enjoy it while it lasts. Bro.
All right, I think that's the perfect time to bring the segment to a close as my co-host goes completely off his rocker talking about Kevin Durant.
My rocker. I'm keeping it real. The Phoenix Suns absolutely fumbled their whole championship hopes away.
But yeah, absolutely, Victor Wembanyama, the best Frenchman in the NBA currently. We'll bring the segment to a close. We have one more game for us to talk about. It will be the Sacramento Kings taking on the Denver Nuggets.